Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to learn how to make this top with a pleated yoke. The yoke is a net, though I used a fancy net for this. So we are going to learn how to cut and sew this. I'm going to do a freehand cutting for this tutorial. So here are the materials we'll be needing. I have my fabric, my lining. I've added a tissue gum to my lining already. I have my yoke as well. So for the bust here, if you want, you can pad it, but if you don't want, you can leave it that way. My name is Ijoma, and let's get started. So first of all, I will fold the fabric that I will cut. I will cut the front first. After cutting the front, I'll use it to cut the back. So I am done folding the fabric. I will go ahead and measure my bust point, my chest line, my under bust, my half length, and the full length. So my chest line is 8, my bust point is 10, my under bust is 13, my half length is 17, and the full length of this blouse is 24 plus 1 inch seam allowance, that is 25. And the front is going to have a basque shape. So if you want to make the front and the back equal, you are free. So after that, I'll measure my shoulder, that is 7.5 plus half an inch seam allowance, 8. My neck width will be 2.5 because it is a turtleneck. Then the neck depth will be 3 inches. If you want, you can make your neck width 3 inches, but I made it 2.5 because I'm slim. If you're making it for a big person, you will have to make it 3 inches. So I have connected my neckline. I used 1 inch for my shoulder slant. At the bust point, I measured 4.5. At the under bust, 4. At the full length, 4. People asked why I measure 4.5 for my bust point and 4 at the under bust. I want it that way. It gives a very fine shape to my dart. But if you want, you can measure the 4.5 straight down to your full length. But this is what I like doing. So the 4.5 you marked at your bust point, you will extend it to the chest line. You can also extend your chest line by 1 inch so that your cleavage can cover a bit. So I went up by 1 inch, and from there I marked my yoke. So you are free to determine how curvy you want your yoke to be. So I am done with the yoke. At the under bust, I will take out 2.5 for my bust cut. I'll take out 2.5. Then from there, I will extend the 2.5 down to my full length. So I'm doing a freehand cutting. I'm adding all the allowance to my measurements. So I will connect from my under bust to my bust point, and at the chest line I will take out 1 inch, just 1 inch for my bust, upper bust tightening. So right now I'll go ahead and cut out my neckline, my shoulder slants, my armhole, and I will cut out my yoke first of all before cutting out my bust cut. If you have been following me for a while, this is the method that I use to get my yoke and everything at once, and it works very well for me. It is easy and it works perfectly. So I'll go ahead and cut out my bust cut. So after doing that, remember to notch your under bust so that when you are joining the two, you will not get confused. And after notching your under bust, you will place the center piece on the side piece. After notching the under bust, you will place the center piece on the side piece so that the bust cut can be covered. I don't know if you understand. So you can see the way that I'll place it right now. Then after doing that, you will go ahead and take your body measurements. You will take your bust measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. It depends on how many inches you want to use for your seam allowance. But if you are doing outer seam, you should use 2 inches seam allowance. Then at the half length, I will measure my waist. My waist is 27 divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance I marked. Then from the waistline, you will come down by 3 inches or 2 inches depending on how high you want your basque to be. but I came down by 3 inches. Then from there I will connect my basque to the full length. So if you want a sharp triangular basque, you can do that, but I want mine to be curvy a bit. So after marking that, I will cut out my side piece. So I am done with the side, and this is what we have for the front. So right now I will cut out my back piece. Using the front, I will cut out the back. It is always easier. So here is the back, the fabric that we use for the back. I will add 2 inches zipper allowance to my own. I want to add a zipper allowance to this. So you will place your yoke, you place your front the way you cut it out, but remember to like overlap that bust cut. You can see that I covered the front dart. So the neck depth for the back is 1.5. I added 2 inches for the zipper allowance. I will cut out my shoulder slant, my armhole, and I will cut out the side. So this blouse, only the front will have the basque shape. The back part will not have a basque shape. So they will be equal at the side, but the front will be longer. You can see what I did there. So I want to take up my basque a bit. I just want to like take it up a bit, and after that, please remember to make the side of the front and the back equal. So that is it for now. So I am done with the back, and this is what we have. I will not use a dart for this back, and it works perfectly. If you want to add a dart to yours, you can add a dart to yours. So I have cut out the lining. This is for the sleeve. I made a very short sleeve for mine, so this is for the front. I have cut out the lining except for the yoke. I did not cut out any lining for the yoke. We will still do some manipulation for the yoke. So the lining for the center, front, the side, and the back is okay right now. The next thing that I will do is to cut out this. I will recut my yoke on a paper. I'll have to recut my yoke on a paper. I don't have a pattern paper, so I had to use this new newspaper. So you place your yoke on this paper, and you add 1/2 inch seam allowance at the down part of the yoke. Then you will cut out your armhole, your shoulder slant, and your neckline. I don't know if you understand. So this yoke is what we are going to pleat our net on. This paper is what we are going to pleat our net on. So the other fabric is now useless, so we will have to pleat our net on this paper. This paper will serve as a guide. So this is the net that I will be using. I couldn't find a plain net, so I used this fancy net for it. So I am done cutting out a long piece for it, and I'll go ahead and keep that aside for now. So right now, the next thing that we are going to do is to join our front pieces, and after joining that, we'll go ahead and pleat out and gather our net on our paper. So this is the paper. You place your net on it. Remember to shift the net to the armhole area. Then you will start gathering. As you are gathering, you will be running a stitch on it. If you want your gathers to be full, fine. If you want it to be scanty, fine. So you can see the way I'm gathering it. Then you will continue gathering around the neckline. I don't know if you guys can understand what I am doing right now. So you continue that way until you reach the other armhole area. Then you come down, you run a stitch down, and then you will start holding. As you are joining the down part, please be pressing the net down so that everything will be aligned, like very, very aligned. Then you go ahead and sew. So this is what I have right now. I will first of all, I will iron. I will sprinkle water on it and iron flat. Then after ironing, I will go ahead and trim off the excess, the parts that I do not need. I don't know if this is understandable, but this is very nice. This method is very easy. Then you go ahead and cut off the excess, and you have your yoke. You can see you have your yoke right now, and it is looking very fine. So after cutting out the excess, you can now go ahead and remove the paper. Removing the paper is very, very easy. So I am done. I will go ahead and remove this paper because I've gotten what I wanted. So after removing the paper, you will now join your yoke to the front piece. Remember, this neckline is a turtleneck. So I am done. Right now I will join my yoke to my front piece. I'm done joining my front piece. I'll go ahead and join my yoke to it. So I have also turned the back part with the lining. The back part, I turned it with the lining, but for the neckline, please remember, do not turn the neckline of the back. You can see I am done turning the down the side and everything, but the neckline is just open. I ran a stitch on it. I did not turn it because I'll add a turtleneck to it. So this is for the sleeve. I am done turning my sleeve with the lining as well. So right now I am done joining my yoke and I have turned it with the lining. So right now I will place the front and the back together and I will take my measurements. Guys, I burnt this top when I was making it. You can see it. Thank God I used my measurement, not really my measurements, but I am not making it for anyone, any client. That's the luck I have. So I will take my bust measurements and my waist measurements, then I will shape and I will add my sleeve also. So I am done shaping. I will go ahead and recut my armhole. You go ahead and retrim your armhole because the armhole may be smaller now, so just feel free to retrim your armhole. And after doing that, you go ahead and add your sleeve. So after adding your sleeve, you add your zipper. But before adding the zipper, remember we have a turtleneck and I want this zipper to extend to my turtleneck. So first of all, I will cut out my turtleneck and I will show you guys how to cut a good turtleneck. So I'll open my zipper allowance first of all and I will take my round neck measurements. I will take my round neck measurements before cutting out the turtleneck. So I measured my round neck and I got 19. You will start from the zipper allowance. Remember, you start measuring from the zipper allowance. I measured my round neck and I got 19 inches. So I will go ahead and use that measurement for my turtleneck. So for the measurement, for the turtleneck, I will fold a triangular flare. It is easy. I'll fold a triangular flare. Then from the pointed part of the triangular flare, I will come down by like 15 inches. It is not a standard, but just come down by like 15 inches so that from there you can get what you want. So I came down by 15 inches and I'll mark the 15 inches round. So I'll connect the 15 inches line. Then remember we got 19 inches plus 1 inch for seam allowance. That would be 20. Like 19 inches for our round neck plus 1 inch seam allowance. That would be 20. So on fold it is 10. I'll mark where I got my 10 on that line. Then I will cut out first of all. So from that place right now, you will come up by 2.5. Our turtleneck will be 2 inches wide, will be 1.5 inch wide. So 1 inch is for seam allowance, because I will join it at the top and I will join it at the down part. So from that area where you measured the 15, you will come up by 2.5 round. This will give you a nice turtleneck. I don't know if you get. So I'll cut it out and I'll also go ahead and cut it out on a lining. I will use the fabric as the lining. I want to use the fabric as the lining. So if I open it up, this is what we have. You can see it is curvy, it is not straight. If it is straight, it might not really relax around your neck. I have another turtleneck pattern that I used. I have the video on my channel. You can go check it out. A white dress. That one, I used a full circle for it. So right now, I will cut out my lining, sorry. After cutting out the lining, you will go ahead and turn the upper part and the sides of this turtleneck. Turn only the upper part and the side. I don't know if you understand. So I am done cutting out. I'll go ahead and turn the upper part and the side, then I will iron. So after ironing that, you will now go ahead and join it to your blouse. you will join your sleeve and you will add your zipper as well. So I am done turning. This is what I have. I'll go ahead and join it at the round neck of my blouse, and at the end of the day, this is what we have. I hope you love this, and please do not forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up so that more people can get to see it. I did not zip this blouse. I have not zipped it, so if I zip it, the turtleneck will relax. Thank you guys, and see you in my next video.